Okay, I think this is it. Hey, everybody, as promised, here's another video. I am Randy Flagg, and I'm driving to Jack's Corners today to hit up the beer and to finish my novel, to work on my novel. So this is what I do about 2 or 3 times a week. So I just read some story about some guy named Hue Hui Shenfeng, I think his name. Hu Shenfeng. Okay, Hu Shenfeng. He's like some kind of influencer. He was an influencer in China, and he's the one that invented the term called Apple Mind and Android Mind, which separated the masses into the poor folk and I guess the well-off people. Okay, so the well-off people are the apple mind people, and the poor minded people or the poor folk are the android people. And so he became very popular doing this. He spent years slowly building up his platform. China has given him what we call a social debt. I don't know if you know what that means, but a social death is like when you are erased from social media. So your whole identity is erased. Everything that you have done is erased. And if you really look at it, that's a really scary thing to even fathom is a person being totally erased from social media. I was reading something about it. They said this has far-reaching implications. Even people that were selling stuff in his name, like companies and businesses selling his merchandise, all of their social media has been shut down. Um, Everything of his has been shut down, like from Bilibili, Douyin, WeChat. All his channels are completely gone, like he didn't even exist. And I think he's just gonna have probably a hard time. I mean, I guess you could do something if you're not online, like you can kind of sell your influence like in a convention or something like that, or to make speeches that are not government related. Because from what I've read, he's never done any type of anti-government stuff like talking and stuff. It's just that the government is afraid because he it's not that he was a bad person, okay? Is that he was kind of so decent that it made the Communist Party look bad, look look like they're greedy, look like they're not good people. And so what it did was it showed the communist government up, and then so um, the big Xi Jinping he had to cut this guy off, and so this guy has been disappeared, which is just it's insane, man. And I think America can do that. Like basically, like America has Google has done that to me. I mean, no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be able to become. Uh, if you are conservative, it's really difficult to try to build a platform. It's very difficult. You got to build years and years and years, and people got to actually know you by name. You got to go by word of mouth as opposed to um, the podcast now, these feminist podcasts now, where you just gotta interview just the right person or some famous Democrat, and then they're all really famous. Then the podcast becomes famous. or you just agree with the talking points of a liberal nonsense and democratic shills, and then you repackage that garbage and you start preaching it, and then all of a sudden your algorithm is off the chain. If you speak based, you're gonna be erased. I haven't really been erased off social media. They just blacklist you where they won't promote any of your stuff. You just gotta basically you gotta get by on word of mouth. And right now, I didn't aged out the market, right? I out aged or aged out the market where 10 years ago maybe I could do word of mouth, but my format does not work anymore. It's different, and that's another part. But imagine being just like deleted from social media. And I learned about him through Esco John because sometimes I look at his videos. Excuse me. And from what he's saying, it's just China's like economy is just it's trash. It's horrid. It's like Trump has done a number on China. And America's going through it too. We're going through this kind of everybody's getting laid off, or they're scared they're gonna get laid off. And the only kind of decent job you get is a part-time job. But even through that, you can navigate. I think there's gonna be major changes in the near future in terms of people work style, how they work, and how they earn money. I think it's gonna be major change. I think um, universal income is coming around the corner because I think you're just gonna have too many people. Either two things are gonna happen. You're gonna have if that's gonna happen, the economy is just gonna break down, and you're gonna have like universal income, and because of what AI is doing, and you're gonna have like a 4-day work week because of all this stuff that's going on, AI and all the technology online and all this other stuff. Either that's going to happen or Trump's utopia of um, a strong economy by bringing back the industries and the titans of industries back to America to produce in America. And then America can have like another reawakening or rebirth of a golden age. Um, I think once you get out all these kind of illegal people, then it's possible that it can happen because then you have a lot of competition out of the way. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And the other way is the financial system could like collapse because how you going to force somebody to pay a mortgage if they don't got a job and everybody else don't got a job? You can't just kick them out the house, right? So if you got 10 people with a house that bought a house, and you extrapolate that to tens of millions or whatever. But if you got 10 people who bought a house and then four of them default, I don't think they're gonna kick those four people out their house. Okay, either it might be maybe forgiven, or there's gonna be some way where the person can pay some kind of way. And why do I say that? I say that because you have when the banks were being bankrupt. Do you remember the banks went bankrupt in 2007, 2008, and Obama? I think he gave 900 million in taxpayers' money to the banks when they blew all of their money. Right? You remember they blew all their money on the. They just had a big cum shot and they blew all their money on the subprime mortgage thing and Morgan Stanley and the Lehman Brothers and all that other stuff. And we thought the world's coming to an end. They try to make us think the world's coming to the end. And instead of like letting Bank of America fail, they bailed Bank of America out. They bailed Wells Fargo's out. They bailed all the housing people out. They probably bailed, I think, Freddie Mac and Sally Mae and all. They bailed all those people out, even though these banks made bad financial decisions. They did not get kicked out of their institution or their establishment, right? So that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, I pretty much don't think like something as far as a house. I don't think they're going to kick you out of a car. They may repossess your car, right? That's something different. But a house where you gotta live, you gotta have shelter, right? You gotta have food, shelter, air, water, right? So if people just bought a house in this kind of environment and then, you know, I'm knocking on wood, God forbid something happens where they can't pay, right? Because they lost their job, because the economy is bad, which is not their fault, right? I do not think these houses are gonna be like, yo, you gotta give me my money now. And another thing I think is not going to happen is they're not going to keep back paying you, like saying, okay, so this costs 2,000, you can't pay this month, you only pay me 500, you got me 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then 1 month when you get your job back, at one time you got to pay $10,000. I don't think that's going to happen. I think whatever you owed for the first month that you couldn't pay and it went over for 6 months, you're just going to owe 2,500 bucks. And what they're gonna do is like kind of roll back your credit. So instead of like 15 years that you finish paying the house, it's gonna be like 15 and a half years that you're gonna pay for the house because you're not gonna have any choice. They're not gonna have any choice. You're gonna be kicking all these people out of their homes because they don't got a job, and the economy is busted, right? I don't think that's gonna happen. That you're gonna be getting kicked out of your house. Now, if you're renting a house, that's something different because pretty much the government can't control an individual landlord from putting locks on your doors. But for a person's house, that's different. Now, in terms of HOA, you will always have to pay that. Like, ain't nothing you could do about that. And in terms of property taxes, you're gonna have to pay that. You know, but in terms of the mortgage, I think they're gonna like ease up a little bit if you can't pay. Now, property taxes, you're gonna have to pay that because that goes to paying for school, for the police, for all that other stuff. So you're gonna have to find your way to scrounge that up. Now, if you can't get that, then there's gonna be a problem. But in my opinion, looking forward, if the economy goes bad, they're not kicking you out your house unless you don't pay your property taxes and your HOA fees. Because HOA could kick you out of your damn house because they own part of the land around the area, so they can do stuff. Well, they can like take you to court and do all that legal stuff, and they can make your life a living hell. Not taking out your trash. So where your trash goes, your trash just keep piling up, like stuff like that. Letting the police come and harass you because nobody there to take out your trash, and then you're gonna have to pay to take out your trash. So it's gonna be like stuff like that. Now, I mean that's just kind of what I see coming. They call me the Oracle. That's worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. This guy, Mr. Nice Guy, says nope. Hey, bro, please reply. Where are you going? How's it going? Did you send me an email? Somebody sent me an email the other day. Oh, that was from WeChat. I'm going to Jack's Bar. Oh, I heard Jamaica is, yes, the tropical storm Mary or something. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm going to the bar. I am going to the bar, get me a drink, and I got my handy computer there, and I'm working on it. Like, this is my second story I'm working on. Third story in like 5 or 6. Third story in 10 years, I would say. Third story in 10 years. Can you believe that? But now it's like I'm just writing everywhere. You should see it, man. Like whenever I get the chance to write, I'm just writing. It's just like, and so I think I'm gonna be ready. Hey, look, I got writing all kind of stuff. When I get an idea, you know, I get the idea, bam, I just start like writing. So I've always been a writer. Yeah. So the last major one I wrote was a fiction of. Well, I'm not gonna tell you what that one is, but I got some new stuff, and it's gonna be made into a novel. And I even got the pen to sign my first book contract. Okay, this is my pen, a Scrivener from the UK. Oh shit, a Scrivener from the UK to sign my first writing contract, my first book deal. That's how serious. I'm serious about this, man. I'm so sincere. Oh, bars? No, no, I've been going to this bar for a while. It's not really a bar. It's like a food bar, a wine and steak bar, something like that, where you go and watch the game. So most of them, I don't go there to make friends. I just go there to write. But yeah, you're right. Like I told you, I was at the bar, this other bar, and they thought I was too. I was making friends with one of the bar guys. We talking, but the problem was when I'm talking, right? I'm telling him stuff, and we talk. He going over and telling um, the females what I'm saying. Because I was complaining about the uniforms. I was like, why you got these uniforms with these women with these big ass booties, and they got them basically in spandex. They got them in like freaking. You could see more butt than if they was wearing those Lulumans. It's like way more revealing than Lululemons. Like you can see if a girl has like a crated behind or if she had a smooth behind from what she wearing. It's like spandex stocking type stuff. It's like you can see their whole butt, man. It's like, oh my god, and it's flesh colored. And I'm like, yo, what is your boss doing, yo? It's crazy. Like I'm supposed to be focused on my writing, not her ass. You know. I mean, it's not even a complaint. It was just like an observation. But I was saying, damn. And then he went back and told them, and I guess they thought I was like misogynistic or some shit. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why would you do that? And so, I was talking with him. He didn't tell me that he told him, but I know he did. So So me and him got to talking, just talking a little bit, just talking about kicking stuff up about life. I was telling him what you want to do when you grow up. He's like, well, he's grown, but I'm like, what you want to do after this? And he's like, yeah, I'm in high school. I mean, I left. He graduated high school. He went to university for like 6 months, and then he's like, nah, university not for me. And I'm like, what do you mean university is not for you, man? Like, I don't understand people who don't go to school, but they don't got nothing. They don't got nothing to replace school with. Like being a waiter at this kind of place. The place is good, but you're not getting like a super high salary. You're not. And he's still living with his parents, and just like he's like 22 or something, 22, 23. Because I know, when did I leave the group home? I left at 21, and I had to live on my own since then. Since 21, boom, I was out. Either you ready or you not. They kicking your ass out, And I got kicked out, and I had to learn the hard way how to live my life, man. And I said, hey, if I'm gonna get kicked out at 21, I cannot leave this place um just finishing up university. You can't. You ain't gonna make it, kid. You know. And so I'm very happy that I went to college. I made a very good decision, and then after college, because I had my college degree, I was able to springboard off the college and go to China, and then from China, you know, here we are. So I think I made decent decisions. But this guy, he didn't. And I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, yo, school is the way, because obviously, because he's like, yo, I got skills. He want to write music and stuff. And I'm not talking about music. He can't even play an instrument. I'm talking about like writing lyrics for musicians. And I'm like, and I read some of his stuff, and it's okay. It's pretty good. But I mean, I could do that, like stuff like that, right? If you can't write music, writing lyrics is useless. Being a songwriter is useless unless you can write musical notes. Unless you could play an instrument, writing music is no good. You gotta at least know how to play one instrument. And so this guy couldn't play no instrument at all. He's not practicing how to play the guitar or nothing. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Nashville. And I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, you just gonna get booty banged in Nashville. Cause he's a good looking kid. And I'm like, you're gonna get booty banged, they're gonna take advantage of you, and they just gonna suck the money out of you dry. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Cause I'm like, this fool don't even want to go to music school. At least go to a music college. And his parents is like, he said his parents think just like me. And I said, yeah. I mean, you need to go to university. And then he didn't want to listen. Of course, he don't want to listen to a stranger who's kind of half drunk, right? Um, but we was talking about this for like I think 2 hours. He was good, a good conversationalist, and then I tipped him $40. I tipped him $40 because yeah, he did serve me and he gave me some conversation. But then after I let like they called him over because he actually sat down with me for like an hour talking to me, and I thought that he was off work. So I thought he was like off work or that he was on like a layover, that maybe he's off at 2 and then he goes back to work at 4 or something. And so that's why he could sit down and talk to me, right? But no, he was like actually working and there was people in there and he was sitting there talking with me, right? And then they went and grabbed him up and kind of scolded him. Like they reprimanded him. He told me they reprimanded him. And I said, okay, did you get in trouble because of me? He was like, yeah, kind of. And he's like, yeah, kind of. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, dude. And when I mean sorry, like it wasn't my fault. Like I'm a customer, so if you're gonna talk to me, I'm gonna talk to you. I didn't call you over there. I just like, yeah, give me a beer or whatever, and then I'll say something, and then you just stay there and start talking to me. That ain't my fault. You gotta work, right? But then at the end of the day, he kind of blamed it on me. Like because I said, okay, I won't go there for a while. I said I won't go there for a while. I wait for stuff to die down, you know, because I'm like, I think it's kind of a drama because he's talking stuff. They said I was a rude customer, like one of the ladies, and I always say please, thank you. I always give them a sizable tip. I never say give me this, give me that. I don't know what they talk about. Well, when I'm talking about the butts and all that stuff, but before that, they said I was. He said that they said I was like rude. They was talking like shit about me and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, you're nobody till they hate you. So if I get published, they're gonna be like, yeah, I know that nigga. I know that ninja, rude ass bastard, always talking about our asses, freaking pervert, stuff like that. But now, so when I said hello to him, I was like, yo, hello, how you doing? Like, I think a couple of days later, I said, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And then I did also like a week later after that happened, 2 weeks after that happened, and he never answered the phone back. So he never answered his message anymore after that. And I'm like, son of a bitch, this son of a bitch has blamed me. He felt he got in trouble because of me. You know what I'm saying? That's why he ain't answering the phone no more. Because he feel that he got in trouble because of me. You know what I'm saying? Well, isn't that's effed up? That's American for you, B. Like I find American ninjas like the fakest mother brothers around town, man. I just hate dealing with Americans. Like people at work, some of the people in my work, they like make me sick, yo. Just the fakeness or the antisocial behavior. It's like antisocial. You spend, like I said, you spend 1/3 of your life. I think I talked about this before. You spend 1/3 of your life, 1/3, okay? 1/3 of your life at work. That's more time than you spend with your mama. That's more time than you spend with your parents. Isn't work like a familial bond? But because of Title IX, you know, shoot, an interaction could lead to a lawsuit. It's crazy. He said, AI can write music now. Yeah, Gressel said it's very hard to have a conversation. Yeah, people are offended by this. Everybody in this fucking country is a bunch of pussies. Like they don't know how to take. Kids can't take criticism. You know, waitress can't take your damn order unless you like bowing down to them and say please, 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 please. Right? You can't talk to them like a regular adult person. Man, people are just a bunch of pussies. I tell you, and do all that stuff, but it's true, man. Anyway, I'm going to this bar. I gotta write, finish this novel, and I'll speak to y'all tomorrow, man. So stay sharp, people. Stay sharp.